Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Johnny over from the Sound of Heaven Church, and we're continuing our studies in Matthew chapter 24. Hope everybody's having a great night tonight. I want to open up with a quote from John Wesley in his introduction to his commentary on Matthew 24, which is what I find interesting. It says, Josephus, History of the Jewish War, is the best commentary on this chapter. It is a wonderful instance of God's providence that he, an eyewitness and one who lived and died a Jew, should especially in so extraordinary a manner be preserved to transmit to us a collection of important facts which so exactly illustrate this glorious prophecy in almost every circumstance. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that great? What else is awesome too is I heard yesterday that Kirk Cameron has also changed his belief about the end times and the rapture and stuff like that, which is also very interesting and very well and very good and very much needed. Anyways, today we're going to be going over Matthew chapter 24, verses 6 and 7. So I'm going to begin reading verse 6 and also reading the parallel verses as well. Matthew 24, 6 says, "You'll be hearing of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not frightened, for those things must take place, but that is not yet the end." Mark 13:7, which is the parallel verse of this, says this, "When you hear of wars and rumors of wars, do not be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come." And the other parallel verse in Luke chapter 21, verse 9 says this, "When you hear of wars and uprisings, do not be frightened. These things must happen first, but the end will not come right away." So let's look at some notes around this. During the reign of Claudius Caesar, the emperor that immediately preceded Nero, a colossal famine struck the Roman world. Concerning this famine, James Stewart Russell writes, "In the 4th year of his reign, Claudius, the famine in Judea was so severe that the price of food became enormous and great numbers perished." Sounds pretty crazy. Look what Tacitus wrote. "The history on which I am entering is that of a period rich in disasters, terrible with battles, torn by civil struggles, horrible even in peace. 4 emperors fell by the sword. There were 3 civil wars, more foreign wars, and often both at the same time. As just one example, the Roman-Jewish War took place over a 6 to 7 year period in which an incredible amount of blood was shed throughout Judea and Galilee, and women even ate their babies out of desperation." I mean, you got to understand, this was a crazy time that was going on at the time that Jesus was speaking to the apostles in Matthew 24 and the times they were about to enter into around 70 AD. And actually, when it talks about here how the women even ate their babies out of desperation, that's actually a fulfilled prophecy out of Leviticus chapter 26, verses 27 through 30, when it was spoken to Israel about the end if they would not keep in line with the covenant that God had created with them. Here's what Leviticus 26, 27 through 30 says. "Yet in spite of this, you do not obey me, but act with hostility against me. Then I will act with wrathful hostility against you, and I, even I, will punish you 7 times for your sins." It's actually a very important verse about the number 7. That's why in the book of Revelation it talks about the 7 bowls and the 7 this and the 7 that. 7 is mentioned a lot in the book of Revelation, the 7 seals and all that. In verse 29, "Further, you will eat the flesh of your sons and the flesh of the daughters you will eat. I then will destroy your high places, cut down your incense altars, and heap your remains on the remains of your idols, for my soul shall abhor you." Again, very interesting because these are the events that happened at 70 AD. This is a prophetic word if Israel would backslide and not keep the covenant that God had made with them, that this would happen. And what would take place in 70 AD? The judgment against Israel for not keeping the covenant with God. Let's continue. When Nero committed suicide in June 68 AD, even the Roman Empire nearly collapsed on itself due to jostling for power and what Josephus called civil wars of horrible ferocity and dramatic proportions. Rome went through 4 emperors within 1 year, and Josephus remarked that every part of the habitable earth under them was in unsettled and tottering condition. Sounds very much like Matthew 24, 6. You'll be hearing of wars, rumors of wars. See that you're not frightened. Those things must take place, but that's not the end. I'm going to try to get one.